Welcome to Certain Point of View, your first step into a much nerdier world. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on iTunes. Just go to certainpov.com. Thanks. And now your hosts, Ben Milton and Addy Thomas.
Hey, Nerf Herders, I'm Addy Thomas.
And I am Ben Milton.
Oh my God, Ben, you've changed so much.
Oh my God, I've turned into Case. Holy shit.
I just thought you were more agreeable all of a sudden.
Oh yes, that's also true.
Well, today is a Ben-free episode of Certain Point of View. I'll tell you about it in just a little bit, but before we do that, just want to remind you can go to our website, certainpov.com, to check out everything from Patreon, our social media, our weight loss challenge, all of that. Again, is on our website, certainpov.com. Case, what are we doing today?
Well, aside from giving all the props to Team Addy, because I'm on Team Addy.
Nice.
Yeah. Today we are going to go check out the Power Rangers movie.
Woo!
Because I'm a nerd and I'm a 90s kid. I love the Power Rangers.
Yeah, I'm a 90s kid too. I didn't get into the Power Rangers, but I kind of enjoyed them by proxy. And I remember I watched the Power Rangers movie, the original Power Rangers movie.
Power Rangers movie.
Yeah. And I kind of remember that. So I got the Ivan Ooze references when X-Men Apocalypse was coming out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I loved it when I was a kid. I grew out of it for a while there, and then especially because they started changing up the theme each season, which at the time, because I started with Mighty Morphin, that was a big affront. It was wait, but their theme was that they're dinosaur warriors,
right,
with robots, and then now you have cars. What? But since then, a few years back, I checked out Linkara's History of Power Rangers, which is a really deep and researched series about it, and you start seeing it from the meta context of the series, and that got me into it again. And also the music is really catchy, and you're like, oh, I really like it. And now it's in my pantheon of things I really enjoy and influences stuff I'm working on. So.
Right. Well, the reason Ben isn't here is because he's not a Power Rangers fan.
He's an old man and hates it.
Exactly. there's not
he's
even a chance.
I like Voltron, not Power Rangers. Power Rangers are for kids. Voltron's for adults.
Which it doesn't make any damn sense, but we'll let Ben live in his own little fantasy and stay to himself and be closed-minded to something that just about most nerds are still going to be interested in to some degree.
At least to go and enjoy, not necessarily to think it was a good movie. I'm not going into this thinking this is going to be a good movie.
Yeah.
But we're about to go see it. I'm expecting to laugh a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to go check out the movie, and then we're going to be back and let you know what happens.
See you then.
And we're back. So lots of spoilers.
Oh, yeah. Everyone, take, if you don't, I don't know why you'd watch
why would you listen to this podcast?
Why would you? Why would
not
you? Oh my
expect
God.
spoilers? But if you happen to be new and your first episode is the bonus episode for the new Power Rangers movie, lots of spoilers.
Oh yeah.
So that wasn't a horrible movie.
No, wow. I walked out of it and I was like, I've got these weird conflicting feelings because it's almost the movie.
Yes.
It's almost like the most obvious story beats and structure points without really that much going into it. And I can't tell if I love it or hate it for that.
Yeah, I felt like I was watching sort of a generic, a regular, this is an extended episode, and...
Well, like Power Rangers and really more Super Sentai, the Japanese source material, every season is its own animal. And so every season's we're gonna tell the same story where the red guy leads the team, and you all have different colors, and you go off and you do your thing, and you fight the bad guy, and that's it. And every season is just that theme, and then they sort of play with that a little bit within it, which is kind of impressive in how much variation you can do with that kind of structure.
Yeah.
And in that regard, this movie is doing exactly that.
Yeah.
It's here are the most generic story beats, and now it'd be amazing if the sequel was just a totally new Power Rangers series, but using the same structure.
Oh,
Okay, so
totally
every movie
Rangers
we do with Power
everything.
Rangers is we're going to do the team.
Yeah.
The team gets together and comes out, and it's it's going to be the most generic superhero movie every time, but we'll have a different twist on it for the exact same structure.
I can watch that, a weird anthology version of the Power Rangers.
Yeah. Next time they're ninjas.
Right.
After that, they're wizards.
Yeah. Yeah. I was never like, I zoned out a little bit surprisingly during some of the like really tense action moments. Like,
Well, is tense the right word? Because I feel
tense isn't the right word.
Okay, so let's just set up this movie. This is a weird love letter to the 80s. That
for a 90s show.
For a 90s show,
Yeah.
that then spends the first chunk of it doing like the most generic, like learning to be a superhero story,
Yeah.
offset by like references to 80s movies.
Right. Like I
and-
broke the sink, like every superhero has
Well,
done.
but I mean, like the synth pop soundtrack, the like Breakfast Club kind of structure, the
Yeah.
weird mid credits like Ferris Bueller call out, like
Oh,
it's,
right.
it's very John Hughesian, and then they just become competent superheroes.
Yeah. Like there's no real struggle.
Well, they have like a training montage, but what I would have rather seen.
Well, they struggle without the suits.
Right. That's the weird part. Like, so they all of a sudden become the Power Rangers towards the end of the movie, and all of a sudden they're just effective. They know what they're doing, and they never comment on how that's like weird. Like even the show commented, it's like, oh, it's so weird that we can drive these things.
Yeah.
It's like the suits telling us how to do it. Like in this movie, there's none of that. Like they get into a fight, and all of a sudden it's just like, oh, I can make a laser sword, cool, and then
Yeah.
they just use it with no fanfare or anything. Like there's no weird response to their sudden newfound abilities. It's just like, oh yeah, it's obvious. I'm wearing space armor.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but backing up a little bit with this one, I don't know why I was so distracted when I realized it was Bryan Cranston.
I knew the cast going in.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, I had no idea. Like even when when he was showing up digitally, it was Zordon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I was like, but I keep on seeing Bryan Cranston instead. So
Right, because they were doing Bryan Cranston's face. But,
Right.
But as if you had one of those 90s toys where you put the needles up against your face.
Right.
Yeah, it was just that.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, I mean, it was just so generic.
Like, I don't hate this movie.
Yeah.
I find it a weird movie. That's my biggest thing. Like the obvious story beats were like kind of amusing almost from the structural standpoint.
Right.
And they like rush through some things and then take a long time for others. Like they spend a long time showing like here are our misfits, but without showing like their background character stuff. It's like just the establishing scenes take a really long time.
Right.
And then here's these weird tribute scenes of the status quo of Angel Grove High, which could have really been anywhere. Like I feel like there's all this like background stuff that is really unnecessary for the movie they ultimately make, but could have been really necessary if they had done a movie that was like better integrated. Like it's very jarring. Like when they come back to the detention room at the end of the movie, I was like, oh right, the detention room. I forgot about that.
Yeah, like I would think like as they grow, like you kind of would probably not expect them in there, but I guess they're family now.
Well, I mean, just like if they were there and it felt like it was a part of their life throughout the movie, but like I totally forgot about it by the end,
right?
Because it just wasn't a thing. Like, I think.
Well, the last time we saw them was when I think they first met. In detention.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
It might have been a shot in the montage of them training, or it might have been a different class. Like that's the thing. Like that, there's these setup things that happen throughout the movie that don't have any payoff or like build over the course of it, and then it's just sort of like reference back at the end, being like, "Oh, right, that happened."
Right.
Like, it would have been nice to have a cow actually at the end, at some point.
Oh, just to bookend the opening.
Just the cow issue. That's the one thing they don't bookend, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is such a weird scene. This is such a weird movie. Like I think that's my biggest takeaway. Like I don't know what I was expecting going in. I mean, I
was expecting it to try to be way too serious, and it wasn't like deftly like balanced by any means, but it knew like there were times to try to be serious and there were times just to have fun and realize this is campy, and it doesn't necessarily fully embrace the campiness, but I think that's kind of fine. I don't know if I mean, obviously I don't think a Power Rangers movie is supposed to be entirely campy.
No.
But it didn't try to be too pretentious for being a Power Rangers movie.
Yeah, they like before going in, I had skimmed some reviews, and a few of them were like, "Oh, this movie takes itself so seriously, and that sucks." Except for Elizabeth Bank, who's fairly campy in this movie, and that's great. And other reviews were like, "I love how this Power Rangers thing is taking itself seriously, except for Elizabeth Banks. She's taking it like it's campy, and that sucks." Like those were the two.
Read a Repulsa. Like what?
Yeah,
do you
well,
expect?
exactly. And I will say she was definitely the much more like out there, larger than life figure in the movie, even more than Zordon and Alpha 5. Like,
yeah, I felt like they definitely wanted to make sure the Rangers felt gritty, and they're like I didn't think I think they wanted to make sure that you wouldn't take any of the character development they did for these characters as far as like their backgrounds and lives and home lives. They wanted you to still take them seriously, so I think they wanted to do the same thing with with even Zordon.
yeah. Well, I mean, they definitely wanted them to be serious. Like, they keep talking about killing people,
Yeah.
which was really weird. Like,
Yeah.
they threatened Alpha to murder Alpha 5 very early on.
Oh yeah,
And it's like, wait, hold on. You just met this guy. He hasn't attacked you.
Right.
He's just there. It's like, stand back or we'll kill you. Like, what?
and that's a pretty bold statement.
They
too.
went really aggressive, really fast to the tiny robot. And then they're like, and then we gotta kill Rita. And every time they say kill, I'm like, whoa.
This is a little
like,
large, guys. Like
even if I was saying I was gonna go kill someone, I probably wouldn't just say it as casually as they do. Like they are very open about it. It's not like when they're angry. It's not like it's just like, oh yeah, well,
right, we gotta
obviously,
kill.
well, obviously I'm gonna murder you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like it's
let me put it in their calendar.
it's like Power Rangers meets The Big Hit. And every 80s Breakfast Club era movie.
Oh yeah,
Period.
yeah.
Okay,
80s,
so let's talk about that one
Sure.
because that was the thing I kept saying was really weird when I walked out of it. It's a love letter to the 80s.
Yeah, even musically.
There's so much synth pop. Every scene looks like something from an 80s movie, but it's for a TV show from the 90s. And it just felt a little weird. Like, I love the synth pop craze that's been going on recently. Like, I'm all about it, but it doesn't quite go with the sense of like nostalgia for Power Rangers is like that rock music score, the Ron Wasserman score,
Right.
And like it just felt like the wrong era of music and style and so forth. Like, it kind of felt like someone who really liked like Steven Spielberg and Close Encounters kind of stuff combined with like other like teen 80s movies. Like I said, it's all like very 80s-esque in the same way that like Stranger Things is. Beyond, which was set in the 80s, but also had like all the other like 80s things going on in it.
Right.
And I felt this had a lot of those same details. But again, it's not a love letter to an 80s thing. It's a love letter to a 90s property.
Right.
And that's like weird choices. Like, I would have much rather had everyone be just like a little grungy and have like some like rock and like guitar soundtrack riff. I don't know. Like, it just felt really weird that those were the choices they made for this property.
Yeah, it stood out sorely, but yeah, I don't know what else to add to that one.
Like, I didn't hate it. It was just weird.
It feels a lot like I would put this in the same category as the Ninja Turtles movies. Like, I don't dislike them. They're fun.
Yeah, I've never hated a Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah.
Even Ninja Turtles 3. Like, I've never hated it.
Right.
I could
Well,
make
I'm thinking more like recently, just like even like tonally and visually and everything like that.
Right, no, I know what the comparison you're making. Like, like the first of the more recent franchise.
Yes.
I could draw that comparison.
Yeah.
Like, it's very dark. The colors are very muted. The jokes are broad. Like the action scenes kind of look like Bayformers kind of action scenes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I could see that comparison, which gives me hope if they do a sequel that it would be like Turtles 2,
right,
which is actually really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I would hope so too.
Even though no one saw it. Yeah, I guess let's talk about a few things that we liked. I liked Billy a lot. I thought he was fun. Like they used him for humor a lot, and I dug it. Like,
it was weird at times though, especially did you pick up when he was implying that he had autism?
Yes, and I was thinking, I don't know how nuanced this discussion is right now.
Yeah.
But I thought that he was a charming character, so it wasn't they might be using stereotypes, but at least it was positive ones.
Yeah, I was like, the moment they mentioned that, I got a little worried. I was like, oh no, like please don't overplay this with him, or in terms of don't make him like so much of a joke that you. But they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't. Like, I was usually laughing
room.
with him. Like, it was, he enjoyed himself and he was generally having a good time throughout.
Right, rather than you're laughing at him.
Right, and so I was having a good time with him. When he got excited about jokes people made, those were my favorite moments.
Yeah.
Like, not the joke being told. But
Right.
like, especially at the end there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought he was fun. I liked Elizabeth Banks as Rita.
Yeah.
It's weird. I would have... like they're dropping so many hints about the Green Ranger in there.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, what were you? Do you think you would have cast anyone differently? Because she did fine for me too. And again, that like Rita Repulsa is the villain. Like,
Yeah. I think I don't think I would have changed her casting. The only person I might have was the guy who played Jason, and it's not really a big deal about it, but it was just like. For the character that they're selling of being like this like big jock character,
he's kind of small.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, that was my weird part. Like, he's in great shape. Like,
but I didn't think high school quarterback when I saw him.
No, and especially when you think about like since they're clearly trying to reference the original show a lot, Austin St. John is a very bulky guy.
Yeah.
So like it just that the others because like for example, Kimberly I thought looked a lot like Amy Jo Johnson.
Yeah.
Once she cut her hair, I was like, oh yeah, she's got like a very similar look to her.
Yeah.
And so I thought that Jason should have had kind of the same thing because they weren't trying to be explicitly different for him, especially since his background was the same type of like big jockey type character. So it just didn't quite match what we were seeing on screen. Like I thought he did fine. But it was just like, I probably would have typed him in a little bit, a little more square jawed, kind of bulky kind of guy. Because he's more like a Prince Charming type.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I don't think it was a waste of time to go watch it. It was fun.
I like the Zords. The T-Rex was like the same. They did some stuff to make it so it wasn't overtly like not dinosaurs and dinosaurs.
Right.
Like the Mastodon and the Saber-tooth tiger are much more abstracted. So you're like, oh, it could just be anything with a trunk-ish, but they're guns. So it could just be anything, period.
Yeah.
And the Saber-tooth tiger isn't really a tiger. It's got sort of more just like an angular, like abstracted sort of mouth head thing going on. Like it looks like just a four-legged predator.
Right.
And then the T-Rex I actually really liked. I think in general I like the Zords because they felt not as complicated as like a Michael Bay Transformers could have been.
Type look. Like overly intricate, but well, not intricate.
Yeah, they all had like some complexity to them, but the complexity and the way that it was like sort of black with like a highlight color for all their looks, I actually dug. I thought it ultimately was not too crazy. They kind of reminded me of those 90s like robot like remote control dinosaurs. Like there was like I forget what it was called, but it was like a remote control T-Rex.
Yeah.
And I thought it reminded me of that, and they were like white paneled with like black base body.
Yeah,
and it was like
I remember those.
Those in the colors of the Ranger was basically what I was kind of feeling when I saw it, and I thought, that's actually a pretty good look. And like the T-Rex isn't that much bigger than the others. In fact, I think was about the same size as the other three terrestrial ones, and then like. The pterodactyl is a flying thing, so it's going to be a different size.
Of course.
By default. But it actually worked really well. Like his crouched form versus like a guy being in a T-Rex suit and then like some animatronic like puppets.
Yeah.
Like it all like matched up mass-wise and it felt consistent. I didn't really love the Megazord.
Yeah, it was slightly underwhelming.
It's like when they like merged together. I was like, wait, is it being broken and melted into a robot together?
Right.
Is that what's happening? Like, is this not its
Are
actual
they reforging
state?
it? Yeah,
like
as opposed to like interlocking like Voltron.
Right. Yeah. Like it wasn't on command. It seemed to be more like a defensive mechanism to save them after being destroyed in their like individual Zord forms.
Right.
Which that was weird. And then his look was. Like it was more streamlined in the sense they wanted it to look like one robot, but I actually think the original Megazord from Power Rangers is like a testament to design of these kind of like interlocking animal themed robots.
Yeah,
like it looks so good and as like a unified thing, with the exception that the feet are the two different colors.
Yeah.
Like the rest of it looks like one consistent color scheme, and even the feet aren't that egregious. So I think that's like one of my like high water marks for like that kind of robot. And so it's really hard to top that. Like and like make it look more consistent. I thought that this just looked like a smooth thing with a few like affectations of the animals like slapped on it. Like randomly you saw a foot somewhere, but it didn't look like this like this like geometrically like forged kind of robot of anything.
Right.
And that was a bummer.
Yeah. Other than that, though,
I don't think you'll walk out of it being super upset that you saw this. I don't think you're gonna walk out of it being like thrilled either, though.
Yeah.
Like there's just certain beats were missing. Like they cover up like the normal beat of like I'm learning to be a superhero in this montage where before they actually get their powers. So that feels weird. Like they are really slow and then it like shudders forward and then are really slow and then it shudders forward and then you get to the finale. And the finale is ostensibly fine, but it's like actually just kind of like
it's pretty
stakeless. Like and then they just murder Rita. They're just cool with that. And it's just like, oh, I'm gonna die, but someone else will come. Like, wait, you're not gonna be the ongoing threat for them? And in that case, why wasn't this a more like dramatic fight between the two of you? Like, shouldn't I? Not like that I want another energy beam in the sky, but just like, oh, I'm gonna.
Which I appreciated because I was really expecting that energy beam.
I was
in
expecting
the sky.
that. But like, it's
we did see basically the rock monsters from Suicide Squad.
Yeah, but it's just like her big plot is that she's gonna make someone dig in the ground. And then world's over. Like, that's it.
Right.
Like, we're not talking about some giant doomsday weapon. It's just like this gold golem.
This rock to unplug, and then all of a sudden the world dies.
Yeah, exactly. Like the structure of that fight, it was just not an engaging.
Yeah, and like I would have thought they would have even done a little bit more to like protect it, like the way I don't know if
you know what would have been great and would have tied it in perfectly with Power Rangers lore.
Yeah,
is if the rock was on the moon. And that the meteor that happened is what created the moon.
Oh, that's
because
cool.
In Power Rangers lore, like Rita lives on the moon while she's attacking Earth.
Yeah.
So that could have been an interesting detail there. And also the Zeo crystal was buried under her base on the moon.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have made more sense.
Yeah,
wouldn't
it could have just been that. And then it's like she's trying to find it on the Earth and she's on the wrong planet.
Right. That would be amazing.
And then you could have done some space stuff, but it doesn't have to be a beam of light into the sky.
Yeah.
So then you can tie in the moon thing because the moon plays a weird integral part with Power Rangers.
Right.
Because there's an atmosphere and villains always hang out there. Speaking of references to deep cut lore, there's a bunch in here. Like a bunch of the street names are the towns in later seasons of the show.
Oh, really?
And when Rita comes back to life, it's very much shot the same way as when in the Super Sentai that Power Rangers is based on, or the original series is. The Green Ranger is actually dead. And so that candle represents like life that was stolen from him, like minutes of his life that was stolen. So it only has a few days, like that they can burn it. That's why he's like not around a lot. And then they have to give up his powers because his character actually runs out of time. So when they introduce him in the series, he's actually a mummified body like underneath this like shroud. And so when Rita is there like kind of glowing and like rises up, it actually looks very similar, which when considering that she has a green power coin. Right. And like it's implied that she's going to be the spawn of the Green Ranger, or in the next movie or whatever they do. Like that look, I was like, oh, that's nice. That's a reference to the Japanese series because they couldn't use it in America because it's a different structure.
Yeah.
Or they use a shot of it, but it's weird.
Yeah.
Lots of deep references there. I mean, I mentioned the Zeo crystal, which is from the third and fourth season. Town names. Only 2 cameos that we saw.
Yeah,
and they're listed as cameo 1 and 2.
Yeah, the credits were very, very clear about who was who.
Jason David Frank and Amy Jo Johnson. You would have thought they would have gotten the other. It's like...
Yeah, what are they doing? They're going to other cons.
They were trying to put together a movie that I was an Indiegogo funder, and that shot got shut down by SAG.
Oh, really?
Yep. I was supposed to fly out there, right? Oh, wow, I'm revealing a lot of Power Rangers love.
Not to mention the project. You're working on another project.
Yeah, I have a... Yep, that's... Yeah. I'm a big Power Rangers fan.
Yeah.
I was not 5 years ago. I thought I was like, it's like that stuff's kid stuff. And then somewhere just it hit me weird, and I was like, oh yeah, nostalgia. I love that stuff.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you think about the movie. Do you agree with the review? Like, did you just totally love it? Did you totally hate it? Let us know. What did you enjoy? What did you not? All of that you can check out on our website, certainpov.com. And until next week, stay scruffy, my nerf herders.
And it's morphing time.
Thanks for listening to Certain Point of View. Don't miss an episode. Just subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on iTunes. Head over to certainpov.com.